Hi all, Violet here, second generation homeschooling mom of 3. I have a 9-year-old, a 6-year-old, and a toddler. Today I wanted to talk about some options for middle grade science. So let's get into it. So we've been using Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding for a while. My daughter did the first volume in 1st and 2nd grade. She's in 4th grade right now, and she is on track to finish the 2nd volume by the end of this year if we don't do anything to stretch it out. This year I'm taking the time to research options for different science things that we can either take a gap year and do, or maybe we can add to BFSU to spread it out and make it fill up a little bit more time. BFSU is so content rich. I really do love it, but my daughter is really good at science. She finds it very intuitive. She remembers the concepts very easily, and so we just we've been doing more than one lesson a lot of days, or we'll get to a lesson that's supposed to take 3 days and she already knows all the concepts in it, just things like that. It's all great, but I was looking for some options to kind of add to BFSU, or that we could take a gap year and do that would feel worthwhile and like they're enriching our science experience as opposed to just being something else that we're kind of adding in, or like I didn't really want anything that felt like busy work or that was reteaching things that we'd already learned or were going to learn in the 3rd volume of BFSU. So the first curriculum that I looked at was the American Chemistry Society has a bunch of really excellent curriculum, but I specifically was looking at their middle grade, kind of middle school level, and it looks really good. It's probably about a semester's worth of curriculum, but it has embedded videos, it has experiments, and my daughter really likes chemistry. That's one of the things specifically that she said she really enjoyed and would be open to doing more in-depth work on. But this curriculum looks really, really good. But it also looks like stuff that we've either already covered or are going to cover in Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding. Even a lot of the experiments are the same as the ones that we've done already. And I just don't really see the point in redoing things that we've already done. That just kind of feels like a waste of all of our time. So this is an excellent option for middle grade chemistry, but unfortunately not quite what we were looking for this year. So next I looked at Real Science Odyssey from Pandia Press. They have for kind of middle grade, middle school, their level 1, some of it does extend all the way to kind of the 5th, 6th grade that I was looking at. The chemistry was too easy. And the physics also it also kind of looked like by the time we've finished Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding Volume 2, we'll have covered everything that's in those 2 volumes. So then I was looking at the kind of upper level, the level 2. They have biology, earth and environment, and astronomy. And for biology and earth and environment, a lot of that we either have covered with BFSU or are going to cover in Volume 3. So again, I didn't see the need to focus on any of those topics for an entire year, and my daughter definitely is not interested enough in biology or earth and environment to spend a whole year really diving deeply into that. This astronomy curriculum, this is a semester curriculum, and this did look kind of interesting to me because some of the kinds of things that they talk about, they are going more deeply than what we've done in BFSU so far. So I showed this to my daughter, and she was not interested in it at all. But I may end up getting the Stargazer's notebook anyway. This is kind of a supplementary field notebook that has you do once a month some kind of night sky activity like stargazing or mapping, things like that. My husband was really, really interested in doing the Stargazer's notebook with my kids, so I might end up buying just this for him to do with the kids kind of as he feels like it. It won't be integrated into our science curriculum formally. It'll just be kind of something we do for enrichment. So that looks kind of neat, but my daughter was not interested in any of those. Unfortunately, I did show her the biology and the earth and environment and the level 1 chemistry and physics as well, and she was not super intrigued by any of them. So then I moved over to Secular Eclectic Academic Publishing. I know that one of the authors for Pandia Press's science curriculum, Blair Lee, also writes a science curriculum for them. And this marine science is pretty new. So I showed this to my daughter, and she said that it looked kind of interesting, but she didn't seem that excited about it. And it is a little bit pricey for us. The ebook version is $99 for a semester-long curriculum. It does look really well done. There's 18 chapters. The text is kind of interactive, so you can click on things and watch little embedded videos, and then there's experiments to do and little kind of thinking questions and prompts throughout it. but it's a bit expensive for something that my daughter just didn't seem that excited about. So we may end up coming back to this if she shows more interest in it later, or I just decide that it's going to be the best option. But as of right now, this is kind of not a direction we're going to go in. SEA also has this microbiology curriculum that looks really good. Same thing, interactive PDF with embedded videos and all of that. I think this one has the chapters listed down in the description. And a lot of the microbiology topics, building foundations and scientific understanding does cover, but this looks like it went more in depth than BFSU does. So I thought this looked really cool, and my daughter was not interested in this. She basically said that if I bought it, she would do it and she wouldn't complain about it. It would be fine, but that's not really the level of enthusiasm I want for the amount of money that I would be spending on it. So back to the drawing board. I talked to my daughter after showing her kind of a bunch of these things. I asked her what she was really interested in having more of that BFSU either wasn't providing or that she was interested in and would like to go more in depth. And the things that she said were that she really likes the chemistry parts of BFSU. She wants to keep doing those, and she wants to keep doing more chemistry experiments. She just really, really likes chemistry. She also said she really likes doing hands-on things and she likes building stuff. So that to me kind of sounded like she would like more engineering prompts. And then the third thing that she said was that she really would like to do some sort of baking science or food science curriculum because she's really interested in how all of that works. So kind of armed with that information, I went back to the internet to research some more. This website, Teach Engineering, has a lot of really cool units. They're all completely free, and they're just based around different topics. Some of them include the complete engineering design process. Some of them include a partial engineering design process, which I think it's really cool to explicitly teach design processes like that. I think it's really helpful for kids to have a framework like that for developing projects and stuff. I looked at this website a long time ago and just decided that it was kind of high effort, and some of the units do require a lot of supplies. There was one unit I looked at, I think it was for Mars, that looked really interesting, but one of the activities on the supply list is a robotic arm, which is just not something I casually have lying around my house. So I looked through all of these more carefully and picked a bunch of units that I think would be possible for us to do. The supply list is not extensive or expensive, and I think they'll enhance what we're doing in BFSU by providing kind of a different type of hands-on experience, a more engineering focused one. A lot of the science that's incorporated into these units, my daughter will already get from BFSU, so this is kind of like we're going to be using this at least, like demonstrating a practical application for the science that she's learning. We actually just started one of these units, a unit on biodomes. We finished up kind of a little environment section in BFSU, and so I thought it would be a good time to kind of talk about biodomes, how we build biodomes, why we do modeling. That's what the whole unit is about. So we just started that. It's going well so far, and we'll see. These are a lot higher prep for me because I have to gather all the supplies, and there's a lot more of them than building foundations and scientific understanding. So I think the most sustainable thing for me to do is going to be sprinkling these in with BFSU, and I just don't know how many I'm going to feasibly be able to do and how much I'm going to be able to spread out BFSU with adding these units in. We'll see. But so far, our first unit that we're trying from here is going well, and they have a ton of units as you can see. And the units are broken down into lessons and then activities. So you can do just, like if you just are looking for a specific activity, you can just pull that activity out. So the lesson pages have background information and kind of teaching notes and the information that the kids are supposed to know before they start doing the associated activities. And then the activity pages also have a little bit of, some of them have videos. They also have kind of background information and engineering connection, learning objectives, things like that. And then the materials list and how to do the activities. So you could just pick activities if you didn't want to do the whole unit. But yeah, this looks really cool, and we'll see how many of these we're able to integrate into our curriculum. For food science, I looked around at a ton of different things. A lot of the things I found were more cookbooks with little science sidebars, which is cool and useful if you're interested in that, but it's not enough for me to build a food science curriculum around, if that makes sense. So then I started looking at 4-H. I know 4-H has a bunch of different secular curricula that you can buy. 4-H is all secular, so everything that they have is secular. And I know several YouTubers have talked about this food science curriculum before. I think I saw the Mama Librarian had a kind of unboxing. I haven't seen any videos of anybody reviewing this curriculum after they've used it. So if you know of a video like that, or you've used this curriculum and would like to tell me about it, down in the comments below. I am super interested to hear experiences with this, but it looks really good. So it's 4 units, and each unit has kind of 3 sections. And then there's a facilitator guide and a youth guide for each unit. And I think if I do purchase this, I will just be purchasing the facilitator guide, because the facilitator guide has the complete text of the student guide in it. So this first unit is Secrets of Baking, and if you scroll down to the table of contents, it shows you what's included in all of the units. So Secrets of Baking, flour, bread, batter, protein chemistry, eggs, souffles, curds from whey, inner mysteries of fruit and vegetables, browning, cooking vegetables, cooking fruit, so heat it and treat it, osmosis and diffusion, be a food scientist, food science careers, making a new beverage, and art and science of sugar. My daughter was super interested in that last one especially, but she thought all of these sounded really interesting. And looking through the free samples they have on their website, this looks really thorough. It's very much a science curriculum first. Like every experiment that you do, so this is kind of background information they have for the teacher. Let me get to the student pages. So here's an example of one of the student pages. But every activity that you do, they have specific science concepts that they're targeting. So I've seen a lot of in those kind of cookbooks with science sidebars talking about how bread is the way it is because the gluten protein creates these structures and strands, and that's how it supports itself and all of that. This first unit, one of the activities in it is taking different kinds of flours and then forming a dough with them, letting it sit, and then rinsing everything but the gluten out, so that once you're done, you have just a ball of gluten at the end, and then you can visually see how different flours have different amounts of gluten, and you kind of will have felt how that feels, I assume, while you're using the dough. They don't have the complete section in the free sample, but that's kind of the gist that I got from looking through what they do have. And yeah, that just sounds really, really cool to me, and my daughter was super interested in this as well. So I most likely will end up purchasing the 4 facilitator guides for the 4 units. This looks really good, and I haven't really found anything similar to this anywhere else, so I'm really happy that 4-H has this. So that's food science. For chemistry, I'm still researching and thinking about what to do. I haven't really found any great options. Building Foundations of Scientific Understanding goes pretty in depth with chemistry, and it includes a lot of really useful demonstrations and experiments and things like that. So I haven't found really any great options for going deeper or for kind of enriching BFSU. I might end up getting some kind of chemistry kit to go along with it. I just need to find one that's actually good. A lot of the science kits are basically variations on the baking soda vinegar experiment, and I don't need a kit to do that at all, for starters. And my kid's also done that, played with that reaction a lot, so it would be nice to have something that had a bunch of different chemicals and reactions that we could do, but I just haven't looked into it much yet. The other thing that I haven't considered at all is, I know there are several subscription-based things that are supposed to be really good for kind of middle grade science and going more in depth, but I really don't like subscription services. If I pay a ton of money for a physical product, at least I get to reuse that for as many kids as I want, and then I can resell it at the end, potentially, and I can't do any of that for a subscription service. And then also the subscription things that I've looked at have all been just really expensive, and so they're not going to work for us for that reason. I'm sure they're great, but just way too expensive for us. So if you have any suggestions, I would love to hear them. And then the other thing that I looked at is problem-based learning units. I think Patterson Academy did a video on these. I'll link it below if I can find it. But Royal Fireworks Press has a bunch of problem-based learning units, or PBLs. And PBLs are kind of interdisciplinary problem-solving scenarios where your kid is introduced to a problem. They have to find out, discover, learn all of this background information, and then kind of go through a problem-solving process. So Royal Fireworks Press does separate theirs into history PBLs and science PBLs. I can't remember where I saw this, but I think I saw somewhere that they recommended starting with this Black Death one because it was a little bit simpler or more more user friendly in some way for the student than their other units, but I can't remember where I saw that now. But yeah, they have all of these history ones. The Black Death one, I'm assuming, would include a bunch of science as well, learning about how plagues work and how they spread and all of that. They have 2 science ones, Ferreted Out, which is an ecology one, and then the Mosquito Coast Problem, which is a mosquito disease one. They also have the Black Death one and the Ferret one adapted for use with 1 student. I didn't see a huge difference, based on the samples at least, between the regular ones that are written for a classroom and the studies for 1. It mostly, to me at least, from what I could see, looked like they'd changed the classroom discussion sections to discuss with your student sections. So I'm looking potentially to buy these units used, and so I will just take whatever I can get. But I'm looking at the Black Death one because I said that was a good place to start. And then also this ferret ecology one I think might be really interesting. I don't know that my daughter will be interested in the ferret ecology part of it necessarily, but I think she'll really like the problem-based learning approach to solving a problem. And for this one, this is the one that I would be most interested in also, so I'm a little bit biased towards it. But this one you have to learn a lot about specifically this ferret, endangered species. You have to learn about how ecosystems work. You have to learn about reintroduction of species and all the issues you can run into with that. So there's a lot of moving pieces that you have to amass a lot of background information about before you can even begin the problem solving process. And then they have a whole schedule laid out for you to work through this. But yeah, these look really good. They are a little bit pricey, so I'm going to try to find them used. I haven't really seen anything yet, but I will keep my eyes peeled because I think these look really, really cool as well. And then depending upon, I'll probably buy one and try it out, and depending upon how that goes, I may look into purchasing more. We'll just kind of have to see. But yeah, that might be a good option to kind of slot in at some point during our year to kind of space out building foundations of scientific understanding a little bit more. So that's everything that I've been researching lately. If you have feedback about any of the programs that I mentioned today or suggestions for other things to consider, I would love to hear them. I'm still very much in the research phase of this, and that'll take me a while. It's part of why I'm starting now in order to get ready for next school year. This is kind of a bigger open-ended problem of what do I want science to look like. And there's a lot of moving parts for me to figure out just for myself what my goals are and what we want to accomplish. So yeah, if you have any feedback or recommendations, I would love to hear them. I hope you found this helpful. I will link everything in the description box down below. Thank you for watching.